Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome to the December edition of Tea with Me. I am so incredibly happy you are here, and I want to wish you happy holidays, no matter what you celebrate. I am excited to be here today, and I'm excited to share some time with you this crazy month. If you are new to my channel, and I've had quite a few new subscribers, I want to welcome you, and I hope that you will enjoy these monthly chats. I try to make them something that you can look forward to, and I feel like it's my time to spend with you. If you are already a subscriber, and some of you are longtime subscribers, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. It has been such a growing year for my channel, and I'm looking at the next goal mark is 5,000, which I cannot even believe. And I have some really big things planned for 2022. So I'm just really excited that you're here joining me. So as if you've joined me before, you know that every month I have a cup of tea with you, and I usually tell you what kind of tea I'm drinking. This month, I am not drinking tea in celebration of the holidays, and because I'm feeling a little bit cozy today with the snow outside. I am drinking sipping chocolate. Oh, is that rich? We have a store here in America called Trader Joe's. I would probably say the closest type of shop in Europe is Aldi. It carries a lot of, and in fact, I think both stores may have been started by the same family. If I might be right on that. I think I did some research a while back. And they do a lot of really good, interesting foods. And their sipping chocolate this time of year is a favorite of mine. It's not hot cocoa. This is rich and dark. And it's really such a treat for me. So what are we talking about today? Well, I'm not going to have a hugely long video today. Oh, how I make myself laugh. Yes, this didn't turn into a short video, but as always, I timestamp all my Tea With Me videos so that you can skip to the things that matter most to you. I hope you'll join me for the whole chat, but if not, just pick the things that make you feel happy, and let's get back to the program. But I definitely want to touch on some things that may get us in the holiday mood. I'm going to have a couple of things that I recommend. As usual, books that I recommend, a product recommend that goes along with a little craft for the holidays, and just a little bit of holiday cheer. Okay, let's get going. Okay, so let's get started with one of my favorite parts of each episode, which is my book recommendations, which generally are about things that I love to work with in junk journals, or books that I collect, or books that I think that you all in the paper community will enjoy. I try to stick to books that are always affordable and that you can usually find. But this is Christmas. This is the holiday season. So I'm going to go a little extra special. And maybe these books aren't special as far as like their value or their their wow factor. But I'm sharing them because I think that they have something really sweet to offer for our holiday season. So this little book called Holiday Punches, Party Bowls and Soft Drinks is from a private book publisher from New York called Pauper Press. And I believe this is from upstate New York. And they kind of specialized in these really neat, creative little books. And they're very mid-century. This one is 1953. And mid-century, I just really love the style of mid-century paper and books and things like that. They still make gifts today. If you search Pauper Press, you will find lots of beautiful books and note cards and stationery from over the years. But they did a lot of little cookbooks like this. And this definitely has, to me, not that I am an expert in any way, but it definitely has like a Swedish vibe to me, or like maybe Dutch. I'm not sure, but it just kind of has this more European feel to me. And the illustrations are very sweet. I love the size and the shape of this book. It says, "Greetings. Some mortals need spirits for holiday cheer, but we can be gala without wine and beer. We bring our high spirits to make the drinks gay, with nary a hangover the following day." So I'm guessing these are all non-alcoholic drinks from that little poem. And they're just really cute little cookbooks with these really sweet little sort of two-tone they give that letterpress feel, even though I don't believe they're letterpress. Christmas wassail, cranberry punch, prohibition punch. So yes, everything here is not alcoholic in that section. I don't know if the whole book is like that. And they just have these really sweet, colorful, illustrations. Very interesting. So lots of little, think about like right here, this page here, this hot chocolate page with this little illustration. How cute would this be for like a winter journal? And I wouldn't recommend cutting this book, but maybe just photocopying it or scanning it and using it in your own journals would be really cute. I looked this book up online because, truth be told, I found it at an estate sale or a book sale. I probably only spent a couple dollars for it. This book goes between $12 all the way up to $30 resale between the thrift sites, eBay, and Amazon with the resellers. So you have to look around to get a price that maybe you would feel would be fair for this book. I love the images so much that I definitely would say if you were somebody who could scan or reproduce, you could use them in your own books. I probably wouldn't cut this up. They're just too precious. It's also wonderful for decorating, especially the size on a shelf, maybe next to some really pretty Christmas mugs. And truth be told, when I went online to see how much this book would be on eBay right now, I found a Christmas dessert book, the same size, in a teal blue from the same year, and I got it for $5. So I think it's just a matter of looking. Right now, these prices are probably high because it is a holiday punch. Maybe if you looked in the summertime, the prices would be very cheap. But very cute book, very sweet. And I definitely would say it would be a terrific gift or decoration, or great for some really good illustrations for a holiday journal. Moving on, I wanted to bring these up because I see these at estate sales. I'm going to move this a little bit. At library book sales quite a bit when they have like a holiday section. And I don't know if everybody is aware of them. And I bring them out today because one of the things I wanted to do with you today is show you how I decorate my studio for the holidays and for winter time by using paper. Of course, in a paper studio, I'm going to decorate with paper and vintage items. And I'm not over the top, but I definitely use vintage items to decorate. So these books are going to play a part in that. They are called the American Annual of Christmas Literature and Art, and they started in the 1930s. I want to say maybe 1931. I hadn't even realized they went back that far until I noticed something in the back of this one. Which one? Whichever one's the oldest one. I mean the newest one. So this one is 1939, so it must have been this one. This one's from the 70s. If I go in the back, they have a picture of every single one they've ever made. And they start in 1931, and then this one was 1974. So these were all of the covers that went before then. So if you did a search on eBay or anywhere else and just typed in an American Annual of Christmas Literature and Art. You may get any of these come up in the search, but they're all a similar thing. It came out once a year. It was a bound magazine, and it has no advertising in it, and it is exactly what it said it is. It's literature and art. So everything in here is art that reflects the holidays, stories that reflect the holidays, and poetry, photography, and it's bound together as sort of a keepsake. But what I really like about it is an amazingly large size. Like, I want to say this is probably, I don't know if I have a ruler handy. I have a wooden one. Let's see. So this has got to be 17 inches tall by 10 inches long. So it's a very large paper. So folded in half, it would make for wonderful journal pages. The page is thick. The pages are buttery. These are all ripped up, so I must have already been ripping from them before. But let me show you. So they were published by Augsburg Publishing House in Minneapolis. This one is the one in 1974. Again, very large, creamy paper, and the artwork is very, very specific to that time period. So we're in the 70s here. But what I love is, like, look at this Madonna. It's the pictures a lot of times are one-sided. I've already cut this one out. There's nothing on the back, and that's because they print it in a way that when you get to the artwork, you can use it for framing. And I absolutely love this right here, made in between 1483 and 1520 by Pitti Palace, Florence, Madonna of the Chair. That's probably where it's from, Pitti Palace, Florence. I don't know a lot about Italian artwork, but I think that is just really beautiful. I'm going to put that aside. We're going to pick out some items that I might decorate with. So look at these pages in the artwork. Obviously, I've cut from this before, so things are not in order. Oh, I think I have a stack of things I cut from this book already, like this beautiful, majestic, it says Majestic Monarch of the Woods, Nordmarka, Oslo. And look, it's like printed in green ink. And this is Reindeer Sleighs Bring Christmas Supplies to Finnmark. And again, this is from a photographer in Oslo. Yuletide snow blankets at the harbor of Lofoten, if I said that correctly. So this has all blue ink duotone, and this is green. I'll put that aside. Now this, I think, was on the inside cover, and I had ripped it. It has such a texture, almost a linen texture to it, and it is definitely like, it's got such great texture. It was an oil painting. And again, nothing on the back, so you can use it for framing. And I just loved this one, this nativity scene. Isn't that gorgeous? The colors, the saturation, it's just absolutely beautiful. This one is skiers coming down a mountain. This is a beautiful tree full of frost at St. Moritz. What's on the back here? Quaint customs amid nature's grandeur in Switzerland. And another beautiful nativity scene on really thick, creamy paper, sort of linen. So I had obviously already chosen these before when I was looking for some artwork, so I'll put those aside. And we'll look what else is in here. They found Mary and Joseph and the Babe. So this is like stained glass windows and a nativity story. This is Michelangelo. And I can't even get the whole thing in. Let's see. Because it's so large. Really, again, this is an art annual, so this is all about Michelangelo. Here's some poems for Christmas. I want to take some of these images out. I think they're beautiful for the holiday. The sleds in the streets, the blacksmith. Really, it's a story. It's like a fictional story, but I just think that the images are really nice. I absolutely love this one with the church and the little girls dressed in their red outfits, and the prop plane going overhead in the trolley. It's very, very American. This is supposed to be Pennsylvania. And this here reminds me of an old-fashioned Christmas here in New Hampshire. We have barns and things. We have scenery that looks just like this. And I definitely am going to be using this picture. I'm going to add that to my stack. And then look at this beautiful story. This is Christmas in the City. And this whole story is in pen and ink, green pen and ink. And it's just beautiful. I mean, I could definitely see using parts of these pages in journals or hanging them up. They're just gorgeous. And then there's some, because again, this is Christmas, they have some scripture printed out really beautifully. Again, one-sided in case someone wanted to use that as a decoration. Just really pretty. And then some poetry, then some things on how to make a luminary, historic organs of Europe. And then there's always hymns and songs in here, and they're done in such a beautiful way. So keep in mind, this is 1974. This is definitely the feel of 1974, the colors and how things used to look. So every year you're going to get more of that feeling of whatever is the style. The art of feeding winter birds with the cardinals. And because of the size, if I cut this right here and folded it here, this would make a great journal page and it would be oriented correctly. Really nice. So that is the 1974 one. And there are some things I'm going to take from here. And here is the 1939. So this is only the 9th one. It's definitely seen better days. It has some, a T mark here. Probably had, I don't know, some sipping chocolate sitting there. And this is all, it was probably done by a machine, but it's sewn in. It's not glued in. And this page has been ripped out. Might have been one of the pages that I had in my stack there. And let's see what the 50s look like. This is rich, gorgeous color. And this is Gloria in Excelsis. In Excelsis. I remember I couldn't say this word when I was a kid. And the nuns taught me to say eggshells. Say it like you're saying eggshells. And then add the end. Excelsis. Is it correct? I don't know, but that's what the nuns told me. So, again, little stories. This one's obviously a religious story of the Nativity or a part of the Nativity. And then we have some poetry. Look at this poem, To a Snowflake, with this gorgeous artwork. That would be really nice to use as well. This is England, Yuletide, the time for holly and mistletoe. He's calling up to the people up in the windows there. The Sunday school boys of St. Mary of the Angels at Highgate sing the carols. We're in Stockholm here. They're showing Christmas around the world. Christmas radiance at the Stuttgart market in Germany. Here's Germany as well. John Sebastian Bach and his contribution to Christmas music. So we have something about him. And then we're going into this beautiful story, Christmas at Havgard by Edna Hong, illustrated by Regina, I'm not going to say this right, Kolnow. And look how gorgeous that is, just the writing and the letters, and really, really pretty. I don't know if I would ever actually take this apart. Maybe I would cut it out and bind it myself. Look at this great picture. I think I've taken something out of here, but maybe not. This is Norway. Crown Princess Martha of Norway and her daughters, Princess Ragnhild and Astrid, together with Prince Harold, enjoy the snow-clad hills of Skagdum. I'm probably butchering that. I apologize to any of my Norwegian followers. Really, really neat pictures. This is the Christmas tree. So as you can see, lots of text, lots of beautiful imagery, creamy paper. I love how a lot of times it's just 2-color, black, green, blue, different stories, artwork. I have definitely cut some things out of here. And as you can see, there were only 8 issues before this one, so this was early on. So if you can get your hands on any of these Christmas annuals, there is tons of material inside of them. So let's move on. I have another recommendation that will add to our paper decorating. Okay, let me take a little sip. A few years ago, for Christmas, I got the Sizzix Big Shot, the big crank die cutter machine, and got all the pieces and parts for it, and slowly started building my collection of die cuts. But I've become very careful about what I purchase, because what I realize is it's easy to get addicted to all those die cutting pieces, but we really only use certain ones. So every year, around Black Friday time, end of November, beginning of December, Sizzix has a huge sale, like 80% off. And I try to control myself and really only buy things that are really, they're clearancing them, they're getting rid of them. And I try to use a careful eye about what I'm buying to make sure I'm going to use it. Well, I saw this die and I didn't know much about it, but I thought, boy, that really has a lot of possibility. And this die, it's called the Star Bright 3D. Here is the number up in the corner, 658265, was made in 2012. So we're talking almost 10 years old, right? Yes, it's 9 years old. They must be getting rid of it, because this $32 die is now on their website for $8. And I was like, okay, it's an older die. It says alterations, which is definitely an older one. And I'm just going to take a chance. For $8, I'm going to take a chance on this. So I got it. And this is what it looks like. It is one of the big dies, so they're very thick. There is a metal blade in here that is what cuts the paper. It has scoring lines on it. Now, my sister gave me a handmade paper star a few years ago, and I really thought it was beautiful, and I looked up patterns on how to do that after she gave it to me. And when I watched the tutorials of all the folding and scoring, I thought, that's just way too much to me. But I was always interested in making them. When I saw this, I thought, this may be my solution, because it already cuts it out and it already scores it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this die, I'm going to cut out a bunch of pieces off camera, and then I'm going to meet back here with you, and I'm going to show you how these are put together. Okay, so now that I've talked a little bit about this die, I want to show you what they end up looking like. So here is what the pieces look like when you cut them out, when you run them through the machine. On the back, because you have that mat, you make the sandwich where it is the big die. It's got foam and the metal edges, and then you have that kind of squinchy mat. I don't know what it's called, but it allows the scoring to get put on without cutting through, and then you have your hard piece after, so that's your sandwich. I'll try to remember the name of that particular mat and put it in this video. Anyway, you see all the score marks, and you know, you can do this without one of the dies. They certainly have the tutorials online. It's just to mass produce them and for me to remember how to fold them and where to cut. It's just too much. But this does like that whole step for you. So now all you have to do is fold it and glue it and then do whatever you're going to do with it creatively. And I want to show you really quick. This is not a new die set. This is, I think I may have mentioned this was from like 2012. So we're talking about 9 years old. And surprisingly enough, for a 9-year-old die, there are not a lot of YouTube videos. I think the price that it is right now reflects the fact that maybe people got discouraged right away with how to make them quickly and easily. They look really easy, but they can be quite messy when you fold them. But literally, I got this yesterday, cut a bunch of these out, played around with it for an hour, and figured out, you know what, there's so many different ways you can make this easier. You can watch the videos where they're precisely trying to glue everything, and it's very, you know, I don't know. To me, I'm somebody who makes everything difficult, and a lot of the videos I saw, I thought made things difficult. And then I'll show you the two easiest ways, and then I'll show you the more traditional way so that you can see them. So this one here, I literally just did the folds and then put washi tape on each side so that the washi tape kind of stuck to itself. And then I trimmed it down. And I, you know, reinforced it with a little bit of art glitter glue because that tip is so fine. But this made it super easy, and I love the glitter trim around it. This was not a problem at all. Then this one, I went even a step further to make it easier, and I folded the tabs on the outside, which maybe you're not supposed to do and maybe people wouldn't like, but I kind of liked it, especially depending on your pattern, it could really work for you. And once I put gilding wax on, it kind of reminded me of a tin star that I've seen sold in gift shops. And honestly, I really don't mind it. And in this particular case, I'm going to be hanging this in my window. I'm not going to worry about whether or not I can see a seam. And by adding the gold to the seams, to me, it just looks like metalwork. So really, I'm really not worried about it. And these two are two very easy ways if you're not wanting to go through the really meticulous job of gluing everything. So let me show you a little bit more so this all makes sense to you. So this, I'm not going to do the smaller one. It's the same exact process, but because it's smaller, it's a little bit more hard for you to see when I fold it. So I'm not going to do that. But let me show you. So you're basically making sure that you fold on each line and you fold the flaps in, right? And actually, there are no instructions, but if you watch the earlier videos, they want you to, they tell you not to fold the paper on the die, which to me makes no sense, but that's what they tell you not to do. And then they tell you to have it basically always face the same direction. So they want you to glue the tab to the tab, but then you have a whole side that doesn't have a tab, which opens it up to how do you glue that without making a mess? So I did what they told me not to do, which is I just took a piece of scrapbook paper and I folded it so that when it cut, the tabs, let me find the one that I want to show you. Okay, so they tell you to do it individually and just to crank it out so that it's all the same. But the problem is that when you, if this is a plain piece of paper, let's say this was just a simple color, it wouldn't matter. You could take it and flip it so that there was a tab on this side and a tab on that side, which is what you need for folding. But when you have a pattern, that's not going to work for you, because then you would have either the pattern go exactly the same way both times, and then you would have nothing to stick to on this side, thus making a gluey mess. So what I did is I took the pattern paper and I folded it in half and cut it out so that when it cut out, when I fold it, I'll have a tab on this side And so I'll have a tab on this side and I'll have a tab on that side. So it's easier to glue. I hope that makes sense. It's almost one of those things you have to do to have it make sense. But let me just show you quickly how it works. So I have my piece, right? And all I do is I take a ruler, because I find this to be the easiest way. I place the ruler across the entire fold line. And then I fold up on that fold line and really make that fold good. If you make the folds really good, you won't have a problem puffing it out after. So I just go around on each one of those lines and make sure they're folded. Again, they had also said to do the flaps first. Well, you can't fold on a ruler if you do the flap first. And I think the ruler helps you not fold it wrong, and it makes that fold really strong. So now I make sure all my folds are done. This one might need a little bit more. And then I'll go in and do my flaps. And the flaps for sure help on a ruler because they're so small, and the point, you want the point of the star to really be sharp. And if you accidentally fold over on that point, you're gonna make the tip of your star kind of get bent up. And keep in mind, I've only made a few of these over the course of one day, and I already know these things, so it's pretty easy to figure out. I'm not sure why more people, I almost wonder if people got discouraged early on and they just bad-mouthed this die, because to me it's so versatile. It'd be great for birthday parties, decorations. I mean, it's awesome for Christmas, but think about all the patriotic things you can do. So then once I have it, all my score lines, I just bring the 2 points together and pinch in the middle. And again, maybe there's a video that says to do this, but it was just sort of intuitive. And by doing that, you really make those bends really strong. So now I have my 2 stars. And yes, it could be a real hassle to kind of glue this one and then try to glue this on and not get glue everywhere. But because I've folded them so good, I simply come in with my Fabri-Tac and I put the glue on the tabs. And I glue the first corner down flat. Look, I'm not even trying to puff it out. I'm just gluing it together flat. And then I'm just going to come in and start gluing each one. You kind of have to glue the 2 tabs at the same time. You see how I'm doing that? I'm going to switch over to one I've already prepared just so that we don't have to suffer through the glue drying. Okay, while we're waiting for this to dry, I just want to show you how easy it is to hang these. So I'm going to just decide, well, I guess I don't even have to decide which side I like better. I just have one of these small point hole punches, and I'm going to come in here and slide it in right in the middle, punch it. Now I don't know if that's going to be too small for this twine, so let's see if it will be better with a smaller type of a twine. I will cut it so that it has a nice little edge there. It probably is too small, but had I put it on a needle and thread, it would have been fine. So you can, you could do definitely a smaller string. I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. You see, it's still not big. I can put that right through. The hole. And for like an ornament, you can make it small if you were hanging it from a window. And then I just pop it back out. See, you get your little hanger right like that. Think about the unlimited things you could do. You could put an eyelet in there. You could put some, you know, shimmery wire through there. I mean, I'm just doing the most basic of basic. Now, if we come back here to this one that should be dry by now, I just puff it. And as you can see, the seams are all really good. This one is the one I just glued and probably needs just a hair more. I think this seam probably will be a little bit more work than the other 4. And honestly, maybe you could, it's quite possible that you might be able to glue all 5 points flat like I'm doing right now, which definitely made for a much better seam, and then just pop it up after. Again, if you've worked hard on making sure that those folds are in, it will pop. I think it's terrific. Oh, how about this? How about just making a one-sided star, and then you can put it on some kind of decoration? I was thinking to myself, what about a pennant that goes over your fireplace that you have either in a point or it comes, you know, like this and sort of follows the direction of the star, right? Right? This is just a piece of corrugated cardboard that came in packaging, and I sewed the points on. See? I could add some really pretty washi tape here. Maybe something like a plaid that has the red and the green in it. Maybe something metallic to catch the eye. Let's see if I can get this going. I mean, I've had this die for, you know, just one short work session, and I've thought of all these things. Just think about the possibilities are probably pretty good, that you could find lots of holidays to make stars. You could do silver stars if you wanted to do some kind of fun space astronomy thing. You could do rustic stars. You can do, you know, you name it. Think about some of the really pretty cosmic papers they have out there. These stars would be really pretty. Doing it in silver paper, gold paper. So I probably would have to add some additional glue to this to really keep it down on the corrugation. But see how you can put a little bit of trim there. I could add, I just punch some holes and put some ribbon through the top. I mean, it's nothing fancy, but I think I did this in like 15 minutes. And I'm certainly not done. I can add some sparkle to it with some sparkly washi tape. And again, I'd have to affix this with probably like a Fabri-Tac or art glitter glue. But just think a series of a few of them, right? How pretty that would be. And how nice that would look in a series of them lined up, or even just one on its own. You could take the paper and mount it to all sorts of materials like wood or canvas. And you could add, you know, a sentiment on there or do a little collage. But it's 3D, which is really, really cool. So again, these are just a few little paper stars that I made in a short sitting using this die. Is it just a go through and use? No, there's a little bit of work involved. Is it doable? Yes. If I can do it, and I am not a good measurer and I am not a precise person, I'm sure a precise person will go gangbusters with this. I could even see a star like this if you inside glued some threads or something coming down the bottom. You could make it like a shooting star. I just think that die lends itself to lots of creative things. And with the fact that it is from 1992 and they're clearancing it, that means it's probably discontinued and you're not going to be able to get it anymore. So if that's something you're interested in, I thought I would pass that along. Okay, so now we have some paper stars. I have my stack of magazine cutouts, and I am going to show you just the little tiny things I do to sort of put a holiday feeling in my studio. I will also show you winter options as well, because not everybody celebrates this holiday, and maybe you're just looking more for a cozy kind of wintry feel. So let's get going. So starting with some tiny details, a beautiful poinsettia hanky with a miniature golden book on top. One of the buildings from my grandmother's miniature lit village from the 50s. I use holiday hankies as little touches all around my workspace, and a little vintage wrapping ribbon from my grandmother's fashion shop from the 50s as well. I have a box of ephemera that I've been using to make December dailies, so it has a festive touch on my desk. I have a collection of clipboards that I hang all around my studio, and I change out what I put in them based on the season and the holiday. This is what I did for the Christmas season. Do you recognize those pictures from earlier in the video? I combined them with the die-cut stars, added some pine branches that had fallen in the woods, and I think they look really cute, and they make a real cozy winter feel to my workspace, and I can keep them up all winter long. And again, you'll see I'm using another vintage hanky, this one with a delicate rose and holly on it. I thought it was so pretty, and I had to put it out, alongside this sweet little bunny that my mom knitted me for Christmas. It's so adorable. Look at this hanky. I just love the details and the scalloping. And on top of it, I placed this pair of vintage deer that I think fit the season. This shelving unit that sits against my daybed, I always have set up, but this time of year, I like to make it sort of like a mantle, putting boughs of pine and candles, a paper house. And then you can see I've taken the clipboards that I have on this wall, and I've put in more artwork from the annuals that I showed you, some more pine and the paper stars. I really like how it looks. It's kind of eclectic and vintage, very holiday, but I could definitely keep this up all through January if I choose. And I'm pretty pleased with the way that it came out. And just as important as the things I see are the smells that I surround myself with. I love candles that are pine, sandalwood, patchouli, even cigar, those rich, cozy smells of winter. And my last little touches that I put up was another clipboard with the Madonna and Child, which I really liked, with the same pine type of accents, and then little twinkle lights all over my studio. Truth be told, these twinkle lights stay up year-round, but I definitely add a few extra strands this time of year. And even tiny details like this sweet little angel that my dear friend Maud made me make me feel all cozy on winter days. Thanks for taking a look at all the little details that I put in my workspace. They're not over the top, but together they definitely give me that holiday and cozy feel. Well, that sipping chocolate went down way too easy. Oh, what an episode for me. I am just so grateful and blessed to have all of you guys in my life. When you comment and like my videos, you're not just helping my channel, but you're lifting me up. I love interacting with you. I love hearing your stories. I love fielding your questions. And I love feeling the connectiveness that we have around the world for a shared passion, which is paper and crafting. I thank you for being in my life. I really hope that the small contributions that I make you smile, give you some inspiration, and really my whole intent is just to share and kindness and friendship. So I wish you this holiday season, no matter what you believe, what you celebrate, that this wish finds you healthy, happy, and hopeful for a really creative and inspiring 2022. Blessings to all of you. I love you all, and I'll see you next year. Bye.